Hello, you retards and screwheads. Welcome to another edition of my exciting show. News of the day. That's what I call it. That's when I take stories that are running through the news cycle and I put a biblical slant on them. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Anyway, let's get started. First story. Julian Assange. He's free. All he had to do was plead guilty to espionage. And the U.S. government gave him a plea deal where he doesn't have to serve any more time. They're counting what the prison time he spent in London. So he's free and he's in Australia. And he gets to see his family for the first time in, I believe, over a decade. So good for him. I gotta tell you about this guy. I have a great deal of respect for him. He's never gotten a story wrong. He's a journalist. I don't care what anybody says. He's a journalist. He got information 100% correct. No one's ever found a story by Julian Assange and said, oh, he's factually incorrect on this story. Oh, he's factually correct. He put it out there. The powers that be didn't like it, and he was brutalized. And I have to say, I don't think I'd have the strength to do that. And like I said, I have nothing but a lot of respect for this guy, and I don't blame him for pleading guilty. I would have done the same thing. Plead guilty. We all know it's a scam and a sham and a travesty of justice. Get on the plane and go back home. God bless you. Because like I said, I couldn't have done it. Let's put a biblical slant on that story. Now, I think Assange, I'm not 100% sure, but he might, I don't think he's the religious type. I don't know. He always came across as more of a secularist, an atheist type, but I'm not 100% sure of that. But I want to say this, his courage reminds me of some of the prophets, like Jeremiah preaching to Jerusalem in the northern or the southern kingdom and telling them, hey, you're going to get dragged away to Babylon for the things you've done. And he was thrown in a pit filled with mud, and he was abused, and you name it. It took courage. It takes courage to speak truth to power. Think of Zechariah, right? I believe he was stoned. He was stoned to death. Isaiah, another great prophet from the Bible, speaking truth to power. He was sawn in half with a wooden saw. Oscar Wilde has a quote, and I'm paraphrasing it because, my memory's not that good. He's saying, if you're going to tell people the truth, you better be funny. Because if you're not funny, they're going to kill you. Well, they didn't kill Julian, but not for lack of trying. I was watching Tucker Carlson, and they were saying he was saying that Mike Pompeo was trying to figure out ways to take out Julian Assange with poison. Can you imagine that? Taking out a guy who's never been tried, hasn't been found guilty in an American courtroom, and you're just going to go poison him? Whew, I tell you what, I don't know what's wrong with these people at the top. To me, they just seem like a bunch of psychopaths. But what do I know? He probably goes home after talking about poisoning innocent people and kisses his wife with his nasty lips. Well, screw you, Mike Pompeo. Too late. The guy's free. I guess you can always try to kill him in Australia. Anyway, story 2. The big debate is coming up. And it's Joseph Biden, senile Joe, versus Donald Trump. I like to refer to him as Orange Donald. And I'm going to tell you, what's going to happen is they're going to pump this old guy full of Adderall. And he's going to be like he was at the State of the Union address, like Speedy Gonzales, right? And I don't think he's going to do a good job. I don't think he's going to do a terrible job. So the mainstream media is going to applaud him. You know, as if Joe can give a debate without pooping his pants, that's the litmus test. Did Joe poop his pants? Is he going to have to change his diaper? No. You're the winner, Joe. And it's tough for Orange Donald because, let's be honest, he's debating three people. He's going to have Jake Tapper, who's called him Hitler. You know, it's tough. That's tough to win a debate when the lead moderator thinks you're Hitler. And you got Dana Bash, who's called him a liar on a million occasions. He's a liar and he's Hitler. And so I don't expect it to really change anything unless Joe just freezes. But like I said, I think he's going to be pumped full of Adderall. And I think he'll get through it without any huge mistakes. But there's no telling. There's no telling. I'm definitely going to watch it. I'm kind of curious. The rules have changed now where the mics get turned off when the other guy speaks. I don't know who will have the advantage with that. In a funny way, it might be Orange Donald because, make Joe speak as much as possible. We'll see what happens. I'm kind of curious. And my final story, well, let's put a biblical slant on it. Have you read Kings, 1 Kings and 2 Kings? And as Israel, the northern kingdom, Israel, and the southern kingdom, Judah or Jerusalem, right? They're divided at this time in the 2 Kings, right? And they'll introduce a king, and 9 times out of 10, it'll always say, and he did evil in the sight of the Lord. Then the next king, and then this king took over, and he did evil in the sight of the Lord. Then the next king takes over, and he did evil in the sight of the Lord. And I think we're getting to that point in America now where we're cooked. And I also think we're on the verge of becoming, at least nationally, a one-party state. The last time, it's almost impossible for a Republican to win a popular national election. It's a big problem. It's going to come back to bite us when you only have, because, like I said, I think we're going to be a one-party system, at least on the federal level for president. You'll have pockets of Republican, well, more than pockets. It's a little bit less than half the country, but it's not good when you don't have, when one party takes over everything. Third story, let's make it an LGBTQ story. Rosie O'Donnell, the one that Trump called a big fat pig back in 2015. Or was it 2016? I don't know. She has a daughter who's 10. The daughter proudly proclaimed that gender is infinitive, whatever that means. Is that the correct word I'm using? Stretches to infinity, I should say. It's infinite. That's the word I was looking for. Infinite. Meaning that there's all types of different genders, yada, 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 yada. Now this kid's 10 years old. 10. Do you think there's a little bit of brainwashing going on? Something tells me that that's not what a normal 10-year-old says. She's repeating mommy or daddy, however you want to look at Rosie. I'd go more with daddy than mommy. She looks like a shipbuilder, right? She's tool belt all the way, this woman. And God bless her. Hey, look, teach their own. But they're starting to take over the culture, which I'm uncomfortable with, you know? Now, don't get me wrong. I'm all for, well, I'm not all for it, but, you know, I'll say this about gay adoption. The best thing would probably be to have a child with a healthy female figure and a healthy male figure. But if you can't meet those requirements, then living with a gay person is a heck of a lot better than being put in the foster system. You know, that's the way I look at it. If I was a kid in the foster system, it's a couple of screaming queens wanted to adopt me, I'd be like, yes, daddy, please take me. You know, because it's such a snake pit, the foster system. So I'm not like some real conservative in that point of view. I'm just saying that they tend to brainwash the kiddies sometimes, you know. But she's taking care of her daughter. She's feeding her. She seems to like her. You know, so, hey, not my business. Anyway, I'm at 11 minutes. That's much too long. So I'm going to say goodbye. If you like this, press like. If you want to subscribe, press subscribe. I'm up to 29 subscribers. It's not very good, but it's better than nothing. Anyway, God bless you. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.